Hello, hello, hello. I'm live. Welcome to another edition of the Narrator podcast. I'm your host, Halsey Allen. So tonight, experiencing some technical difficulties with my theme music. I'm in the process of making some new theme music for my podcast. Something happened. I had my original music on a different source, and the different source got taken. I definitely didn't misplace it. Like, it's just really a shame when people just be sitting out here watching you and observing you and just can't wait for you to miss a step. But one monkey don't stop the show. Here we are on Thursday. Beautiful Thursday in my neck of the woods. Nice. Finally feeling like spring. It was a deep, deep freeze early this morning, but it's nice and warm. Welcome to the Narrator podcast. Welcome all my narrators. Um, Hope you're doing well today. So today I am live. I usually have a full episode of the Narrative Podcast every single weekend. To all my new people, all my narrators, they already know the demonstration. I'm off to a very late start. So on my lives, what I do is I do articles, then I do commentary on current events, and then I go over my full broadcast format for my listeners that's not familiar with my platform. But yeah, I might end up foregoing that this evening because, like I said, the theme music thing took me for a loop. Like, usually when I go do my lives, I'm usually at this time 20 minutes into the podcast. But yeah, so they pulled the whammy on me. But it's kind of my own fault because something told me like last week to just back up my music, theme music, because anything could happen to the handheld device, and all my music's on it. My theme music for my, podcast. Nothing important really, other than my theme music. Like, it's deactivated. Um, there's nothing on it. So I don't know. People do stupid stuff, but like I said, one monkey don't stop the show. Here I am rocking with you on this fine Thursday, the Narrative Podcast. For all my new people, the Narrative Podcast is the home of Black original people reciprocity, original people peace, original people love. On my platform, I destroy negative stereotypes about original people. And how do I destroy the negative stereotypes? By providing positive frames of reference about original people and original culture. So that is, the gist of the Narrative Podcast. The ultimate takeaway I want my listening audience to get from my content is how important it is to share positive content on your platforms, on your all platforms about original people and original culture. Um, so yeah, that's my ultimate takeaway I want, because these days, whatever you share online is a carbon footprint of who you are as an individual. So just imagine us as a people, if we're always sharing, you know, um, negative content, if we're always sharing thought culture, horror culture, pimp culture, gang culture, drug culture, just anything that feeds into these negative stereotypes and negative stigmas that the media falsely portrays about our people. So, they already intentionally misrepresent us to sell news and to control the minds of the masses. So it's really big business for them to portray us in a certain light. They make billions upon billions of dollars by marketing us as an irredeemable people that aren't worthy of resources. They make billions of dollars by marketing us as a drain on the resources, not a contribution to, humanity. So that's one reason why they do it. Another reason is so the, upper echelon, the elites, they can keep their, socioeconomic stronghold over the world by portraying us in a negative light. So it helps them keep their position in the world as well. So they can control all the resources and, solidify their dominant society status. That's why they portray us in a negative light. That's why they propagate, promote, and push negative stereotypes about our people. So what I want to do on my platform is I want to provide positive frames of reference, showcasing us and highlighting us at our best. I'm sharing stories about leadership, entrepreneurship, family structure, original people family structure. So let's get all the way back. I kind of just dove into it. Like I said, I'm about 20 minutes behind my normally scheduled start time because I had a little mishap with my theme music today. So anyway, let's start at the top for all my new people, the narrative. Let's start there. Like I said, I named the title of my podcast, the Narrative Podcast, because I believe the media, weaves a false narrative about original people and original culture. So what I'm attempting to do on my platform is to, dispel all these false images and false stigmas and stereotypes about our people and our culture by providing positive frames of reference, hence the title or change or flip the narrative, hence the title, Narrator Podcast. So now I'm gonna go back to the original part. So on my platform, I refer to our people as original, as opposed to black. And the reason why I do that is because I believe original is a better a word that describes us better as a people as opposed to black. So I'm not a Moor. I like, a lot of Moors believe in nationalism and, believe we shouldn't call ourselves black, but I'm just saying that off the rip. But I definitely follow their teachings and, read a whole lot of their literature. So it's a good group. But more to the point, I believe the word original is better befitting to describe us as a people than black, because I also believe in the power of words. We were on this planet about 5,000 years before any other civilization on this planet. And when we were reigning and ruling, in the beginning of time, we originated the written and spoken language. And the way we was using the word black, it was, to describe power, to describe opulence, to describe wealth, to describe basically all things positive was, associated with the word black in the beginning of time. But throughout time, over time, the colonizers, the people that's, writing history and inserting, themselves at the head of history have, the way they're chronicling and detailing historical events. They try to paint themselves in a positive light and everybody else negatively. The people that like, colonizing and, pillaging and plundering civilizations instead of contributing to it, they basically just took the word and flipped the narrative on the word black and made it mean all things negative. Uh, to submit my point, go to any English dictionary, whether it be the Webster's or Oxford or the Mediterranean dictionary, um, and just look up the word black and look how all these negative words are used to describe how to use the word black, nouns, pronouns, adjectives, all those parts of speech are used to describe black in a negative way, example sentences. But before they come to all that, it's also the only language that denotes origin. So before they come to all that, um, they go out of their way to let you know, who black people are. So when they say, usually it starts out, it says black, dark skin are people possessing dark pigmentation originating or descending from Africa. And then they start the robbery. They start in on the negative words. Black, gloomy, soiled, desolate, depressed, and so on and so forth. Even some dictionaries even had the audacity to say black, not of God. And basically, everything black is negative, but everything white is pure and innocent and holy. So, that's how they got us depicted in the dictionary. And, like I said, I believe in the power of words. And basically, the way you use words manifests into reality. And if you look at our people here in America and abroad, the status of our overall people from referring to ourselves as black, we're not in a good state. Where, there are more and more of us ascending to a higher echelon, with the digital technology and all these resources. We're hearing stories of overnight millionaires and billionaires every single day in our community now, but still, as opposed to, dominant society, we still pale in comparison to that. Um, and partially, I believe, is from referring to ourselves as black. In my belief, my personal belief, if if you're tapped in with the ancestors and you believe, firm believer in the way, that nothing is new under the sun. If black meant something positive at the very beginning of civilization, why should it mean something negative now? If you're locked in and dialed in like that and you want to refer to yourself as black, then by all means, I'm not telling you not to. I'm not telling you not to, say you're black or refer to yourself as black. I'm definitely not ashamed of being black. I just believe original better describes us as a people than black. Now to cement my point about the word original, when you look at the word original, there's no negative connotation surrounding original. It hints at the first, and in many cases the best. Everything pales in comparison to the original. Legal proceedings, you always want the original receipt to prove your case. If we're talking entertainment, usually the original version of songs and movies are the best version. Pretty much nothing trumps the original. It's very rarely that a remake or a do-over is like better than the original, but for the most part, original means, the first and the best. The way they using black in the dictionary, it signifies death and the end of all things, and disease and famine and chaos and strife. How they got it using the dictionary. So I believe original better describes us as a people because we was on the planet 5,000 years before everybody, and we originated everything. We originated the spoken word. We originated the written word. We originated tools. Uh, you know, educational systems. We were the original teachers, the original philosophers, the original architects, the original chemists, botanists, herbalists, the original, creators of medicine. Emotech created medicine. And then also to tag on to that, we were originally located, despite, the narrative they keep on trying to weave about slavery. Not all of us, ended up in corners of the globe, especially here in the Americas, via the diaspora, via the transatlantic slave trade or the chattel slavery. We was already, indigenously located pretty much every single place in the world. We were the original, Greeks. We were the original Romans. Hell, we was the original Europeans, if you want to keep it super real. Um, you know, our people was over in Europe to combat the climate. They, basically took the melanin out of their skin to adapt to the cold climates. That's how ingenious we was, and next level we was to know we had to adapt to cold climates. But anyway, we was the original Asians. We was the original, you know, Australians, Pacific Islands. We was the original natives. We originated everything. Everything started with us. So, original is better descriptive word to describe us as a people as opposed to black, in my opinion. So, yeah. And then also original also is a tie that unifies all of us because we have all these, different titles and different pronouns now as a people because we're all, different. We're all divided as a people. We got Haitians, Jamaicans, we got, French, um, Caribbean, people from, so many of us speak Spanish and different languages, different dialects of languages, Portuguese. Um, you got people, some of us down in Australia, we got some of us, in the UK and the Emirates, everywhere. We're scattered all about, it's different types of us. You got, you know, FBA and all these different, groups and subgroups of us. But when you say original, that is the tie that binds us. That's the glue that holds us together as a people. Because no matter where you're at in the world, no matter, what your pronoun is, whether you're, Christian, Muslim, whatever, you're an original man and original woman, period. You can trace your lineage back to Africa. You have carbon, aka melanin. That is the tie that binds us together. So when you say original, that deads all that separation. But anyway, got some good stuff lined up for you today. And like I said, because I'm pressed for time, I think today I will forgo giving the new listeners a walkthrough of my regular format because I got enough episodes, um, pre-recorded. You can just check out my last episode to go through my format of a full broadcast day of the Narrator podcast. Because like I said, my theme music, my device getting taken from me and all my theme music was on it. That kind of knocked everything out of orbit this evening. It just enhances the experience so much, but Well, at least I do got my bumper on this one. So let's give it up.
You are now listening to the Narrative Podcast with Halsey Allen. The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.
Well, it just really feels weird without theme music. Let me see if I can just whip up something on the fly because, I'm so multi-talented. Not to toot my own horn, I just am. Let me see if I can pull up something on the fly, whip up something on the fly to get us right before we dive into the content this evening. Push some buttons and mash some stuff. I'm gonna just get to pushing some buttons and just see if I can replicate some magic from my normal intro. Let's see. Let's check me out. Check 1, check 2. What we gonna do? Narrative Podcast. Yeah, that's funky, ain't it? That's something like my old kind. I'm just mashing buttons. Yeah, it's something. I'm gonna get it together for my full broadcast. Like I said, my original beats was on a different device, and yeah, I should have backed them up, but it is what it is. I think we'll work something out on my next broadcast. But that was pretty funky. Just on the fly like that. Can't knock that. That was hard. All right, so diving into this content, all my narrators, and yeah, if you're tuning in right now, you are now officially a narrator on the Narrative Podcast, and it's your sworn duty as a narrator to share positive content on all your platforms about our people and our culture, to educate and liberate and uplift us. All right, take the pledge. So like I said, this is a live edition of the Narrative Podcast, and on live editions, what I do is I share articles that come across my radar about positive things going on within our community, and the reason why I do that is because we don't have a lot of positive frames of reference. We have things that feed into the negative stereotypes. We'll hear about drive-by shootings every single day. Like every 20, 30 seconds, we'll hear about a drive-by shooting. We'll hear about gang activity every 20, 30 seconds. We'll hear about, entertainer getting in legal trouble, whether they got killed or they killed somebody, or, something negative like that surrounding, every 15 seconds. But we will very rarely hear and see stories of, original people excellence. We'll very rarely hear or see, accounts of upliftments, of positive family structure, of, taking care of our children, looking out for our elderly, impacting our communities. We very rarely, seldomly hear and see stories about like that. So I want to be the bridge to always, circumvent and circulate those stories and, speak positivity over us and breathe life into us. That's what I want to use my platform for. Even though sadly it's probably one of my people that got my device that had my beats on it. But anyway, you know, I ain't gonna keep on beating a dead horse. It was what it was and it is what it is. It served its purpose and I take that as an opportunity to build and create something new. I release that, it's gone, I can't do nothing about it, on with the show. All right, so here on the Narrator Podcast Live Edition, I'm sharing my first article of the evening, Positive Frame of Reference. First article, the headline reads, Black Dad buys, gives. The headline is really weird, but that's how it was. I recorded it exactly how it was. Is Black Dad buys, gives his 13-year-old son 40 acres of land in California. And the brother's name is Fahim Muhammad. He is an entrepreneur from San Diego, California, and he gifted his son 40 acres of land to teach him the importance of land ownership and generational wealth. Give a warm Narrative Podcast round of applause for an amazing father. Good example of a positive brother, Brother Fahim Muhammad, for gifting his young king 40 acres of land. The same 40 acres that we've been denied for generations. But he's giving it to his son, like doing for self. All right. Can't be mad at that. Second article reads, the Jalen Rose Leadership Academy in Detroit has 100% graduation rate. The school was founded in 2011 to level, and the purpose of the school's curriculum was to level the educational playing field and support students that were in the same upbringing that shared the same upbringing that Jalen had when he was faced as a youth, that he faced as a youth. You know, very amazing. Can't knock that at all. Outstanding. Detroit is like Detroit is some dirty, rough territory. Like, they super grimy in Detroit. Like, you know, if you know, you know. You know, but anybody comes out of that situation, saluted. Like Detroit, Chicago, those are some like rough little cities, man. So Philly, like any borough in NY, but more to the point, his educational institution that he created, that he partnered with people. I tried to do some digging to see who he partnered with to make that happen, but I didn't really find too much luck on that. I might share it if I find it, if I come across the information this weekend. But shout out to Jalen Rose Leadership Academy. But I will, take this opportunity to do a side tangent. So spoiler alert, I gotta, love and respect to Jalen Rose for the positive contribution, how positively he's impacted our youth, giving them the leg up that they need. My only thing is I just didn't appreciate his stance, as well as many other NBA players and commentators' stance on the Kyrie Irving thing. So I don't slander, I don't do gossip. I do tell the real on my platform, and I gotta say I'm disappointed behind his stance he took on that. I watched his interview. He delivered a very articulate reason why he didn't get behind Kyrie and why he was opposed and all that. And I get that. And I just, want to take this opportunity to say to him and all brothers that had opposing views and took a different stance when it went down. It's okay to be an individual. It's okay to be a non-conformist. It's okay to walk your own path in life. But when the line gets crossed, when sides are getting chose up, it's repping time. When they draw a line in the sand, it's repping time. It ain't time for no individualism. Ain't no individualism. Ain't no, I'm doing my thing, I'm marching to the beat of my own drum. It's when they draw a line in the sand, we stand together side by side, unified on one accord. When they draw a line in the sand, together and on one accord, we all step over that line and what's happening? That's the way it gotta be. There ain't no fence straddling. Ain't no individualism. Because all these other entities, all these other communities, they stand in unison and they get results. Spanish people, they stand in unison and they get results. They don't care. Javier don't like Hector. But if Tariq goes over there and messing with Javier, Hector's jumping in. He ain't asking no questions. Shoot. I can do more examples. When the small hat community is threatened, they all sticking together. When the Dutch community gets threatened, they all sticking together. When Asian community gets threatened, they all sticking together. Ain't no individualism when they get threatened. They're individual after the incident occurs. Then we can be individual. We can go on and do, our individual thing after the fact. But when the pressure's on, when the funk comes to your door, ain't no individualism. We handle it as one and we handle it on one accord. We don't use our platforms to speak indifferent on it, because that has shut down all of that. That has shut down all the manipulation in the game plan. When they see they can't do it with us, they'll stop. When they see they can't play with us, then they'll stop playing this. So that's all I want to say on that. But I commend the brother for an outstanding job. I just didn't, agree with his stance on the Kyrie Irving thing. When situations like that arise, we should all keep a united front no matter what, no matter if we're in full agreement or not. For example, look at the Nation Islam. Do some of their members agree, with the minister? You will never know it because they'll never say it. They'll never ever let the public know it. It'll be an in-house issue. One word will never be uttered. Street organization, aka gangs. When the big homie says something, when the chief, when the supreme, when the elite, when the gov says something, it's action stations. Ain't no individualism. Look at our armed forces. Do we agree with the commander in chief, who's ever at the helm? Do they agree? There's the Marines and the Army Rangers and the Marines and the Navy SEALs and all them different branches of the military, are they in 100 in total agreement with Commander in Chief? No, but when he says go, they going. Period. Ain't no individualism when faced with a problem. I didn't mean to veer all the way off on that side tangent, but I just had to make my point be clear, and clear it is. So I know I'm definitely not going to do a walkthrough through my format tonight, because another thing about my platform, I try to keep my broadcast 1 hour, and the reason why I do it is to not exceed an hour, because I want my content to resonate. I want it to be cohesive. I want it to be streamlined, because when I first started podcasting, I didn't have a clear direction on what I wanted to do. No focus point, no stopping and starting point. I would just talk and talk and talk with no point, and I didn't have an audience. So when I stepped back and looked, I broke my content down into sections, gave each section a speaking point, and I've pretty much been successful in this audio platform ever since. So, I try not to ramble is my point. So, but yeah. Anyway, off to the next article. Headline reads, meet the first black deaf person to receive a PhD in Canada. And the sister's name is Janelle Roos. She received her degree in 2020. She earned a doctorate of philosophy from the University of Western Ontario. In 2008, she completed the deaf and hard of hearing teacher education program at the York University in Canada. Also received her master's in arts and applied linguistics of education from the University of Ontario in 2016. So give a warm Narrative podcast round of applause for Janelle Russo. And then I forgot to clap it up for the brother Jalen. I had to make my point clear. We still gonna clap it up for brother Jalen. All right, moving right along. Next article reads, headline reads, Tyler Perry donated $2.75 million to cover the property taxes of low-income residents in Atlanta. The assistance will cover city, county, and school taxes over the next 20 years for older citizens. He's already donated $750,000 for the first year to cover the back taxes. So give it up for Tyler Perry. That brother is the living definition of no excuses. I love his entire, work ethic. Not asking for a seat at nobody's table, build your own. Now, he starred in some mainstream Hollywood movies, but in essence, he's doing everything in-house production. He got his own movie lot. I just know in the future, streaming networks coming and more opportunity for more of us in his movies. So I got to give my critique about that. He gets a lot of flack because people say there's colorism in his movies. It seems like the dark-skinned guy is always the villain, and the light-skinned guy is always a savior. And then, of course, the whole wearing the dress thing, you know. But he's his own man. You know, he can do what he wants to. He explained why he was what you know Medea culminated from. It was a composite of all the females in his family that he looked up to growing up. So, you know, just the overall wearing the dress was a polarizing image, and you know, him being like over 6 feet tall and just not an attractive woman. Not that he's supposed to be attractive as a woman, but you know, that's what people took issue with. Like I was just making a jokey joke, but you know, Mr. Perry, salute. He is like a workhorse. He don't make excuses. He's solution based. You know, you can't knock him. You cannot knock him. Nothing he's doing, nothing he's bringing to the table, nothing he's building. So, you know, all that gossip and he might be and this, that, and the third, and like all that's irrelevant. Like the only thing that's relevant is results. If you're not yielding results, you should be quiet. You shouldn't criticize somebody like Tyler Perry. If you haven't yielded results, if you don't have the means to, you know, contribute to the movement, you should be quiet. But anyway, on to my next article, and I believe that's the last one I got for this evening, and I'm gonna dive right on into the commentary. Oh no, second to the last. I got one more. I had a lot. Today been a really good day. You hearing all that original people excellence, y'all? That is so great to hear positive news like that. Isn't it great to hear positive news like that? We can get bombarded with so much negativity. It's actually great and refreshing to hear some positive news. All right, so the next article reads, Black-owned family-style restaurant has no prices and feeds anyone who is hungry. And the proprietor's name, or the name of the business, is Drexel and Honey Bees. It's located in Brewtown, Alabama. Proprietor's name is Freddie and Lisa Thomas McMillan. And so basically, essentially, they got I guess it's called a co-op. It's like, you know, they donate their own resources, they donate their own food, and they put on a spread, and they got fixed prices for each one of them. So it's actually a sit-down dining establishment, and you know, word around town is the food is really excellent. It's restaurant quality. It's not just thrown together. It's like actually restaurant quality. So they know how to cook. You know, they got corporate people to go up there for the meals. So like people that actually got corporate jobs go up there and eat. And it's like, you know, pay what you feel you can pay. If you can't pay anything, then the meal's on us. And so they've been in business for a whole lot of years. I think like somebody from U2, the rock group U2 had a restaurant like that. Or maybe it was like another person, David Bowie. I think David Bowie had a restaurant like that. Or Bono or David Bowie, somebody like had a restaurant with that exact same concept. Somebody from that genre, but you know, that's very beautiful. It's touching. It really you know, solidifies your faith in humanity with all this negativity going on around us every single day, especially in concern to our people. But yeah, that was a very heartwarming story. So give a warm narrative round of applause for Freddie and Lisa Thomas McMillan of Drexel and Honeybees. All right. Last story of the evening, 15-year-old black female championship chess player wins scholarship. And the sister's name is Jessica Hyatt, I believe. Let me double check, because sometimes I can't read my own handwriting. Just like hit the Googles right quick. Yes, her name is Jessica Hyatt. She won $40,000 in scholarships, or 40,000 in college scholarships. And she also holds the coveted title of first black woman to be a chess master. So she holds that coveted title. So she's like the first. Give a warm narrative podcast round of applause for young Mrs. Jessica Hyatt. Alrighty then, that was the end of the articles today. I guess I'm doing alright on time, even though I was 20 minutes behind my original starting time. We're going to dive into some commentary, and I might have enough time to walk you through my format for new listeners for the Narrator podcast. We'll see if I don't go over my commentary. So let's start with let's see. It's so much I want to talk about. It's a lot going on, but I'm gonna just choose a couple things and just, wow, it's a lot of stuff to unpack today. It's like so much going on, but I'm gonna try to stick with something that's more indicative of what I do. I'm not gonna indulge. I'm gonna stay true to my content and talk about something positive. I don't, endorse, promote, or indulge in gossip. I try not to. I try my very, very best not to on my platform because we get enough of that from all outside influences. If I do name drop on here, it's really just to solidify a point that I'm making. I always try to bring it back into focus about the greater good of our people, unity and all that. So if I ever name drop, it's just really to, solidify a point that I'm making about unity and staying on code, like I did when I went off on my side tangent just now about Brother Jalen. Okay, so just a second, I'm getting it ready. I didn't really put it in my notes. But it is very important, and going to talk about it. And why is it so important? So let's talk about it. If you didn't know, unless you've been living under a rock or just oblivious to everything, yesterday was the anniversary of the day that we lost one of our most beloved civil rights leaders ever in the history of the civil rights movement. The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated yesterday in April 4th, 1968, I believe. Yeah, let me punch it up, making sure I got it right. Yeah, it was in 1968. So he got assassinated 55 years ago. Um, so much. So first of all, it seems like as a nation, we are content in letting people outside of our culture tell us whom to acknowledge as our leader, and then what qualities we should admire them about, the leadership that they're bringing to the table. First of all, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, all they want to give us about him is the I Have a Dream speech, when he was so much more than that. He was like so radical, so revolutionary, so strategic that they killed him. Like he really had the plan. If you go back and look at his last few interviews before he got assassinated, he was kind of reneging on the whole sit at the proverbial tablehood of brotherhood. His speeches were more leaning into, nation building. Like, if they want us to stay segregated, let's stay segregated, and just work on us. That's basically what his teachings towards, him getting assassinated. So that's another issue I have with his death, because, people outside of our culture, mostly white people, they'll say, well, Reverend Martin Luther King died for the civil rights movement. He died for we can all, be together as one people, and you're disgracing his memory by, wanting to be segregated and be apart from white people. And here's the thing, I don't hate anybody. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King definitely didn't hate anybody. But at the same time, it's insane to embrace somebody that doesn't love you. It's insane to be around and embrace people that don't want you to do well for yourself and to be in a good situation. And, I think on his final days, he realized the flaw in his teachings and kind of retooled his curriculum. He was teaching us as a nation. I definitely wasn't born back then, but, looking at the old footage, listening to his speeches, speaking with my elders that were alive in that time period, He was definitely making a change. He was definitely being impactful. He was more on the economic side, teaching us how to build the wealth, um, how to create, economic stability, how to go get, startup money, Kickstarter money, and all that. This is way back in the '60s. He was teaching people how to do that. And he was, his family had money. He came from money, so he wasn't born poor. So there's not that narrative. His family had money. His mother had money on her side of the family, and his dad had money on his side of the family. He was a pastor, but he had his own side business. His mother, she owned her own business. Her family had their own family business. So he had generational wealth on both sides of the family, and he wanted to teach his people how to build generational wealth. And he was successful in doing so. He was really shaking up the economy, especially with the Montgomery, Alabama boycott. He was like a really driving force behind that. He forced them to, yield to our demands after seeing that we was hurting them pockets. And he just doesn't get enough shine, and it definitely doesn't get enough acclaim for that. They just want to historically relegate him to "I Have a Dream" speech, just like they want to relegate George Washington Carver to just peanut butter. And he was a botanist. He had over 100 patents on like over 100 different food inventions that he came across. Like George Washington Carver was Dr. Sabi before Dr. Sabi. Like in his journal, George Washington Carver's journal, he said, the soybean is not meant for human consumption. But yet soybean now, fast forward today, it's in everything. But anyway, I got off on a side tangent. I was talking about Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King and how great he was, and the reason why they feared him, the reason why they assassinated him. And then they keep on trying to assassinate his character, like the movie Selma was just a complete mockery of who he was as a person. It should have never been made, not from that perspective of his, alleged infidelity. When his wife was alive, Coretta Scott King, she never once uttered, whether she was not happy in the relationship. So if she never said nothing, why do y'all sit up here and make a movie about his personal life? From a woman who says, when nobody did any fact checking, just, some random Caucasian woman said she was with him. And they do a whole movie around that. It's never been confirmed, is what I'm saying. And they want to sit up there and still defile the legacy any type of way. They're always telling us, trying to pick our leaders for us and tell us what qualities in our leaders we should look up to. And the qualities is just, something that's non-threatening to them. Like a perfect example would be, God rest his soul. He was a great, great guy. I love, graphic novels. Don't you dare call them comic books. Graphic novels. One of the greatest graphic novelists of all time, Mr. Stan Lee. But even he kind of interjected and tried to tell us who to look up for leadership, because he based two of his most iconic characters in his franchise around, people within our community. I'm speaking of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King and Brother Minister Malik Shabazz, aka Malcolm X. He based two of his characters off that. He basically said Charles Xavier was based off Martin Luther King, and Magneto was supposed to be Malcolm X. So, like, you know what I mean? He was the extremist, radical, anti-hero, and then, Professor X was the hero to a fault, pure, But that's all I want to say. He just basically tried to vilify Malcolm X and cause that division. It's okay though. It's okay in the sense that he was inspired at all, that he looked at their teachings and incorporated that into his world. So it wasn't like super bad, but it was kind of not cool. But you know what I'm saying? Like, because people have like taken and did worse with it and flipped the narrative even worse than that. But we should never ever, even though we got a federally recognized holiday, we should never ever forget April 4th either. We should be, it's not really celebrating an assassination, but we should never ever just let them live that down and never just, get stagnant and quiet about April 4th, ever. Because they took something really special from us, and they know the reason why they did it. They were scared, they was petrified of the direction he was taking us as a people. He had answers for problems that they directly caused. Like I said, I had a 20-minute late start. I was going to do another topic, but I think I'll save my next topic for tomorrow, or this weekend, for my full broadcast of the Narrator podcast. I think I'm going to just stick a pin in it here, because, the theme music just really threw me for a loop, because I didn't even know I was without my device literally until I spent like half hour looking for it before I was like, okay, it's gone. I don't have it no more. But it wasn't lost. It was definitely taken, but it is what it is. But, I see it as an opportunity to make some new music. And just look out for me this weekend for another full broadcast of the Narrator podcast. I go live randomly throughout the week on weekdays. I never know what day I'm gonna go live. It's usually been Thursday for the last month or so, but it's alternating. I just whenever time I have available. So definitely just tune in regularly so you don't miss me when I'm live. I'm a definitely that's etched and embroidered in stone every single weekend for my full broadcast of the Narrative podcast. And I already said I'm not going to walk you through the format this week. I got all kinds of new projects coming at you, so get ready for that. I'm going to stick a pin in it here. I think touched on everything I want to touch on. Please download this episode and all previously recorded episodes of the Narrator Podcast to help keep my platform growing. Supports my personal poetry blog titled Halsey's Poetry Corner. Tagline is Poetry with a Passion, poetry for all occasions. And when you visit it, you'll find out why. The web address is www.mrhalseysblogs.com, on blogger.com, powered by Adam. And then also I've written a book of poetry titled The Black Card. And if you haven't purchased a copy, go get yourself a copy now. Go online to poetizer.com and go in the bookstore and get a copy of my book of poetry that I wrote titled The Black Card. So that is it, and that's all, y'all. See y'all this weekend. The Narrative Podcast, Halsey Allen, signing off, and it's like that.
With Halsey Allen. The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.